Doge finds even more outrageous fraud. And the question I have for all of you, did you get your unemployment check? Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, a lot to talk about today, a lot of news over the last 24 hours, but holy shamoly, that's all I have to say. Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency have discovered, and this is another bombshell, absolute bombshell. Again, how this is not leading newspapers, newscasts around the entire country, honestly, is beyond me. Beyond me. So, you know all of the waste, fraud, and abuse that Elon and his team at Doge have discovered. We're literally now talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. Well, my friends, get ready for this. If you're eating breakfast, chew, swallow, and please don't eat for a while. I don't want you to spit out your food, okay? Listen now to this. And as Elon himself said, and I'm almost quoting him verbatim, he couldn't believe what they had discovered. It was so crazy. It was so shocking. He said he had to look at it several times to literally believe it. So, here this is. They did a look into the unemployment insurance claims. Now, I'm all for unemployment insurance. Please don't get me wrong. By the grace of God, there go I. So, you lose your job. You need a buffer. You need a safety net. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever it may be. You collect unemployment benefits, you get your unemployment insurance claims, and you eventually get yourself another job. The program is not supposed to go to fake people. Literally, people that are fake. Completely fraudulent insurance claims. That is draining the system. It's out and out, not just fraud, it's out and out theft. It's literally thievery. Well, here it is, my friends. Our money, your taxpayer money, my taxpayer money. Buckle up and get ready for this. In an initial investigation, and again, they stress they're just skimming the surface. This is just the tip of the iceberg. They haven't done a thorough, comprehensive audit. But what they've initially now looked at, here are their shocking discoveries. Since 2020, okay, basically since the Biden years, they have now found that 28,000 people received insurance claims, about $254 million in benefits, ages 1 to 5 years old. Toddlers, kids, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds were receiving and claiming insurance, unemployment insurance benefits to the tune of $254 million. That's 28,000 people. So basically, they're giving checks to babies and little munchkins, little 2-3-year-olds, and nobody thought, whoa, how could a 2, 3, 4-year-old get an unemployment check? I'm sorry, this is impossible. You have to be at least 16 years old in most states to work. I know there's paper boys and stuff, but generally you have to be 15, 16 to work at a McDonald's. A 2, 3-year-old, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here. What, are 3-year-olds working now? It gets worse. I'm telling you, it gets worse. Over 24,000 people over the age of 115 years old. Now remember, the oldest person, and it's one, the oldest person living in America is 114 years old. And that's one. Over 24,000 people over 115 years old, 150, 120, 130 years old, claimed $59 million in benefits. Again, people that are dead and buried, many of them for a very long time, dead people are getting unemployment checks. And then, my friends, this is the one that blew my mind away. The kids and the dead people. That's such obvious fraud. And you want to talk about, impossibilities. Okay. It's clearly fake, but this one is a different dimension. This is, I'm not kidding. This is where you say we've got to do radical restructuring of our government. Because there's something seriously rotten with what's going on. Listen now to this, baby. Nearly 10,000 people, 9.7 thousand, okay, 9,700 people, with birth dates over 15 years in the future. So I want you to think about this. They're not born yet. They're not going to be born for another 15 years. We're talking 2040. Received $69 million in benefits. They haven't been born yet, and they're already getting unemployment insurance benefits that you're paying for, I'm paying for, we're all paying for. And this one, according to Elon, he said this is the one that really I couldn't wrap my mind around. According to Elon, in one case, someone with a birthday, now listen to this, not 2024, not 2054, no, but someone with a birthday in 2154. What is that? 130 years from now? So 130 years from now, that's when this person's going to be born. Received and claimed and received $41,000 in unemployment benefits. $41K to someone who was so obviously scamming the system that they're not going to be born yet for another century and a half. Hell, who knows? If they have World War III over Ukraine or whatever, there may not even be a planet or the human species in 150 years. It doesn't matter. This guy or this woman is getting a check. And check after check after check after check. Now, according to Elon, this is what, and he went on X, your tax dollars were going to pay fraudulent unemployment claims for fake people born in the future. You can't, I'm telling you, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. Listen now to Elon Musk. Yesterday, he was there, Trump's cabinet meeting was televised, cameras were there, and the media didn't want to touch this story with a 10-foot pole. They acted literally like there was nothing. Like that he was just like, hey, it's a very nice day today. Oh, sun is up. Really beautiful outside. They don't want to touch this story because it destroys the entire Democrat media narrative. That government is good, that government is efficient, that every dollar that we send to the government is properly used, when in fact, literally, it's the exact opposite. Listen now to Elon saying, you're not going to believe what we just found. Beyond crazy. Beyond insane. Roll cut 13. Mike.
Well, thanks to your fantastic leadership, this amazing cabinet, and the very talented Doge team, I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion. And and some of it is just absurd. Like people getting unemployment insurance who haven't been born yet. I mean, I think anyone can appreciate whether. I mean, come on, that's just crazy.
Yeah, honestly, that's an understatement. Yeah, that's just crazy. Now, listen to Elon. I want people, everybody, you got to listen to this. He says, look, we're just scratching the surface, but the corruption is overwhelming. The fraud, the waste, the abuse. He goes, it doesn't matter where you look. Roll cut 14, Mike.
Yeah, some of these things, if people ask me, like, well, how are you going to find waste and fraud in the government? I'm like, well, actually just go in any direction. That's how you find it. It's very common. it's as the military would say, target-rich environment.
I mean, either you laugh or you cry, right? So honestly, at this point, honestly, it's better to laugh. But, it's true. It's a target-rich environment. It doesn't matter. Every agency, every department, every program, it doesn't matter. He said, you go in any direction, anywhere. Which now begs the question, are we getting our money's worth? No, really. For all the taxes that we pay, have we gotten anywhere close to our money's worth? Your calls next. 6:18 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. I was saying this last night to Ashton, Ava, and Grace at the dinner table. I'm like, have any of you received an unemployment check? Ashton and Ava were looking at me like, what? I'm like, well, somebody is. How come it's never us? That's what I want to know. So, look, it's obvious what's going on. People are scamming the system. They're using all kinds of fake social security numbers or dead people or whatever. Or you have a member of the family who dies and they just don't report that person dead. And they just keep collecting the checks. Social security, whatever it may be. So it's obvious now there is such rampant fraud and corruption in our government. The question I got to ask all of you is this. When you see now how much Doge is uncovered, and again, I want to stress this, they're barely skimming the surface. Elon and his people keep saying, you don't understand. This is going to take years to do a proper, thorough, top-down, comprehensive accounting. He goes, there's so much fraud that we're finding, and the scams and the waste and the abuse and the corruption. So, as Elon put it, everywhere you turn, just literally everywhere, it hits you in the face. We've been spending so much money that we are now $37 trillion in debt. We're running $2 trillion deficits a year. And we pay huge taxes. I was just talking, tax season is right now. And Grace is telling me, Jeff, get ready. We're going to get hit hard. I cannot believe how much I'm paying. I got to pay another $10,000 in property taxes every year, obviously, but the bill is already up for this year. So they're hitting me with $10,000 on property taxes. Never mind the local taxes, never mind the state taxes, the massive federal income taxes. They're taking, and they take more and more and more. Now, what have I gotten in return? Have I gotten my money's worth? No way. And now you know why. Because so much of our money is being stolen or abused or wasted or frankly lining other people's pockets. So to me, what is now clear is that the taxpayer is being abused. I think there's no denying that now. We are being ripped off by the government, whether at the federal or state level. There's no question now. And we are not getting our money's worth, not even close. And the reason why the media doesn't want you to know about these outrageous scandals that Doge is discovering and uncovering is because the next time a politician, a Democrat, says we've got to raise your taxes, they know the answer is going to be an overwhelming no. The public's going to say, no, you have more than enough money. And notice how the Democrats are rabidly opposed to Musk and Doge. And so what are they telling us? Literally, this is what they're telling us. That every federal government dollar is sacrosanct. That's what they're saying. Because they're the ones saying you can't cut anything. No waste, no fraud. Don't fire anybody. Don't cut anything. Don't get rid of any spending whatsoever. No. So every dollar is sacrosanct. You cannot cut a single penny, a single shekel, a single ruble in government spending. Now, this is what's changed. And last point, and then I'm going to go right to the phone lines, I promise. 617-266-6868. And I think people, it's become so imperceptible that people I don't think are really going to, I think it's going to catch up to people and say, that's true. Because it's just sort of been a slight change and imperceptible change. But remember, in the 1970s, in the 1980s, in the 1990s, and even in the 2000s, remember politicians of both parties used to pretend that they hated government corruption. Now, they never did anything about it, so it was mostly for show. But the point is, at least to appease the voters, to appease the public, the taxpayers, they would pretend to be outraged. They say, oh, this is outrageous. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to have to make the necessary cuts, and these are hard-working taxpayer, people's taxpayer money, and they deserve to get bang for their buck. Now, the Democrats don't even pretend. So what? Waste, fraud, and abuse? Who cares? You've got, 10 people in a department when you only need 3 or 4? Who cares? You've got people who've been working from home, hundreds of thousands of government bureaucrats for the last 4 years. They're not coming into the office. They refuse to come into the office and actually do anything. Who cares? So this is now what's really changed, is that Democrats now don't even pretend that they want to get rid of race, fraud, abuse, or corruption. They're perfectly okay with it. And that's because they are the party now of socialism. They are the party now of, by the way, the communists were the same. All government was good. All government bureaucrats were good. All government spending was good. It was all good. Don't you dare touch a single nickel. Because ultimately, they have to preserve the myth of the omnipotent, all-powerful state. Big brother, big government, the nanny state. And what now Elon has shown beyond the shadow of a doubt is that we can definitely cut $1 trillion, if not $2 trillion out of the budget. And I'm telling you, you're not even coming close to getting rid of all the corruption. So if you want to save Social Security, if you want to save Medicare, if you want to save unemployment insurance, if you want to save Medicaid, if you want to save all of these programs, stop sending them to people who are not entitled to receive them. These programs and these benefits should go to people who should legally be allowed to get them. Not to illegals, not the quote-unquote dead people, not the people who haven't been born, that won't be born for another 100 years, and not the 2-year-old toddlers. Am I wrong? Your calls. Next. 634 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare, baby. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, David in Virginia. You're going to kick us off, David. Thanks for holding, and welcome.
Good morning. Jeff. You're not looking at the bigger picture. To quote the congressman from Colorado, WTF. That would have been funny if Elon had said that. But how do you think that the top three states, if I read the report right, California, New York, and Massachusetts, all blue states, have the highest number of this fraud? I'm thinking it's a way that the administrations of these states have been funding their illegal immigrant programs. That would be so, because people who work inside those departments that fill out, because you got to go through your state for the unemployment, somebody somewhere is fudging those IDs to funnel this money to other programs, or people in those agencies are funneling those monies to themselves or family members. That's because if I just apply for unemployment, and people that have legitimately applied for unemployment, you got to go through all kinds of hoops, and there's double checks and everything else. And if you're on unemployment, they put investigators out there to make sure that you're actually, whether it's disabled, disability, or that you're not doing a second job or whatever. So I'm thinking that this has to be an inside job.
Oh, no question. No question, David. In fact, that's what Elon was hinting at. And that's what Doge is hinting at. Because we're not talking about, look, in every country, in every government, in every bureaucracy, there's always, one here, one there, crazy oversight. Yeah, okay, 1, 2, 5, 10. But when you're talking 28,000, 24,000, 10,000, no, that's not a mistake here, a mistake there, a glitch here, a glitch there. You're completely right. I think most of this is going to the illegals. I think there's no question. There's no question about it. I think it's all tied to the Social Security fraud that he and Doge found. But I think a lot of it is also they're giving it to families, family members, friends, cronies, spouses. Because look, my inbox was full last night. I mean, the emails were coming in all night when this story broke in the afternoon yesterday. And they're like, Jeff, I've been unemployed. Exactly what you said. The hoops I got to go through to get an unemployment benefit? And, they check and they want to make sure, did I really get laid off? Is this all true? Am I really who I say I am? So he goes, for American citizens, hardworking, tax-paying citizens, when unfortunately, we lose a job, you got to go through, thick and thin to get an unemployment benefit. So you're telling me that they're giving checks to literally babies, to 1-year-old kids, to 1-year-old babies, to 2-year-old, 3-year-old toddlers, to people who not even have been born yet, some who won't be born for another 150 years? No, it's deliberate. It's a scam. And again, notice, it's California, it's New York, it's Illinois, it's Massachusetts, it's those deep blue states. A lot of government bureaucrats, a lot of government money sloshing around, and hardly any opposition. They're basically all one-party states. I know New York is better. There are more Republicans up there. But for the most part, those are Democrat-run states with little to no Republican opposition. And man, do they steal, David. I mean, this is highway robbery. Frankly, correct me if I'm wrong, this is insulting. This really is. Like, I swear to you, this is the stuff you hear in Eastern Europe. And people just cynically laugh at the cafes or whatever at the bars and say, you're not going to believe it. The prime minister had his nephew on unemployment. Oh, really? Apparently, how do you get him to check? Well, they gave him a fake Social Security number. But get this, the guy wasn't going to be born for another 150 years. Come on. Oh, really? Ha, 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 ha. He was scamming us. $41,000 went to his nephew. The guy never worked a day in his life. He's sitting at home playing video games. And they're giving him unemployment checks, claiming that he's going to be born in 2154. Or claiming that he's only 3 years old. Like, I mean, this is Eastern European level corruption. This is third world level corruption. David, final word to you. I mean, am I wrong?
Not wrong. I'm just curious. One of those hard-hitting investigative reporters from the Boston Globe is going to ask Governor Healy about this. Would you launch an investigation into your Department of Revenue that runs the unemployment office? If she would ask for an investigation into this to make sure that there's no fraud, waste, or abuse in the Commonwealth.
Well, I want to bring it back. You're dead on, David. Here, that's why I bring it back to the state audit. Again, I don't want to get too local and too much into the weeds. But again, 72% of voters in November in Massachusetts. Now, that's a lot. They don't agree on much, but it was not just Republicans, far from it. Independents overwhelmingly and Democrats said, we want an audit of the entire budget. We want to do a state audit, basically a Massachusetts version of Doge. We want to do a state audit of the state legislature and all of their spending. Now, it's passed in a ballot initiative, 72, almost 73%. The state auditor, and she's a very good woman, Diane DeZoglio, has been saying again and again and again, they won't let me have access to the books. The governor won't let her have access. The Democratic leadership on Beacon Hill won't let her have access. Why? Because this is the tip of the iceberg. She's going to find exactly this. Illegals are getting Social Security checks. Illegals are getting Social Security numbers. And illegals are getting unemployment checks. And God knows who else connected to these Dems. How many family members, friends, and cronies, hacks, are getting all of these government taxpayer-funded benefits? And we're talking billions and billions and billions. And I think this thing goes back decades. So the number is going to be astronomical. And that's why they're telling her to blank off. I mean, pardon my French, but literally they said, we're not opening up the books. We don't care if they vote 100%. You can cite to us any ballot victory you want, popular mandate, popular will. The books are going to stay closed. Where's the media? Where's the media? Where's the Herald? Where's the Globe? Where's the I-Team? Where's Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7, 10, 25, WGBH? I could go on and on. Nowhere. Nowhere. And by the way, where is the useless, feckless joke of a mass GOP under that fraud, Amy Carnevale? Where are the rhinos in this state? They're issuing, sending press releases and sending emails. My friends, this is a mother scandal, and we need to break it wide open. 6:49 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, Elon finds stunning, and I mean stunning, levels of fraud. Now, unemployment claims have been going to the babies. What children? To toddlers, 1, 2, 3, 4 years old, thousands, and in fact, tens of thousands. They found many checks going to about 30,000 or 28,000 going to people over the age of 115 years old. Again, unemployment benefits. These people are all dead. The oldest person in America is 114. So massive fraud going on. And the one that really bent his mind, and frankly is the one I can't wrap my mind around. Checks, about 10,000 they found so far, have been going to people who aren't even born yet. Some of them 15 years from now, 50 years from now. One person who apparently claims he's going to be born in 2154. That's his birthday. And $41,000 in unemployment benefits and counting. So, my question to you, very simple. Are we, the taxpayers, getting our money's worth? I think we're getting robbed blind, but that's me. And why is the media so afraid to report on this obvious, overwhelming waste, fraud, and abuse? And what can we do to finally end this? 617-266-6868. Mike, who do you want me to go to next? Rob in Dedham. Thanks for holding, Rob, and welcome.
Jeff. I'm all back. I've recovered from the broken leg, Jeff. Full of energy. Wicked strong, as they say in Boston. Wicked strong. Hey, Jeff, did you get my present?
Did you send it to the studio, Rob?
No, I sent it to your house. It was a solar panel, powered picnic table. Did you get that? The government was paying $7,300 for those during the pandemic, okay? Did you get one of those from me? Did you?
No, I didn't, Rob. I'm sorry.
They come in his and hers, and social distancing is not included, okay, Jeff? Unbelievable. Hey, listen, this is great. Just keep on going. The thing about Doge, okay, even though they didn't get the big, hatchet on this stuff, what they've done now is they obviously see how everything works. They put the system in so they can control it. And what I think what we'll see over the next couple of years, cycles, is, again, as they go forward, they can't lie, hide, or cheat about this stuff. Now, the thing about Trump is saying to Michelle Roudeau there is this, hey, Michelle, you want the money? Show me who the people are and who's getting it. You know, I want a refund. I'm still getting screwed from that $9,000 bill I got from Charlie Parker on the fake CCP because they put me out of business on 2 businesses. Hey, this is great. On the other, what I would say to everybody listening to you, Jeff, is this. Everybody go pull papers on anything and just run for office, okay? It doesn't matter if you win, okay? It doesn't matter. Start running, and that way you got a platform so they can't cut you off. You were on the ballot. You're legitimate. But all this stuff is great, and it's going to take a little time. It took us a long time to have us get screwed like this, but they don't care, Jeff. I was there on Saturday in Boston where the group of 100 and whatever they were, okay, for an hour and 20 minutes, where basically the government workers meet the civil society, okay? These are all the hacks, the accredited. They're all look the same, Jeff. They don't give a rat's nose about you or your family or anybody listening here. This is war, and understand what it is. They don't care. They don't care about you or anything else. Rob, I got to ask
you, and I agree with you. They obviously don't care, and they know it. Look, all these Democrats, whether it's Healy, whether it's Michelle Wu, whether it's Kathy Hochul, whether it's Gavin Newsom, obviously in Congress, it's all of them. They know that there's massive fraud and waste and abuse and corruption. They know because they're partaking of it. So that's why they don't want Doge to have a lot of media attention. They don't want these bombshells to be reported on. So the American taxpayer, the peasants, are going to say, we're getting ripped off. We're getting screwed. They're stealing from us. So, and that's why they want to try to sweep this under the rug. And that's why they're trying to demonize Musk, go after his Teslas, go after his Tesla dealerships, call for him to be murdered, make it about him and not about everything that he's finding. But I got to ask you, Rob, to me, this is the $64,000 question. Where are the checks going to? That's a lot of checks. And remember, it's not one-time checks. It's month after month after month after month. As Elon said, he goes, this has been going on now. He goes, look, we just kept, we stopped looking at 2020. He goes, we could go back another couple decades. We just arbitrarily said, okay, Biden came in 2020. What happened to these unemployment insurance checks? And we just couldn't believe it. So this, God knows how long this has been going on. But, and again, he's saying, look, and then we just know month after month after month after month, they just keep collecting checks. So, Rob, who's getting these checks? Do you have any idea? Do you think it's illegals? Do you think it's these hacks that you're talking about? Do you think it's the family members of these politicians? Somebody's collecting these checks. It's not me. It's not you. So who is it, Rob?
Jeff, I witnessed them all on Saturday in Boston, okay? The ones that were yelling the most were the ones getting the checks. These are the people, these are what they are. It's the money pump. They pump the money into the reps. The reps make sure they're in office, and they pay them back with all these little things. All these people were the accredited. They're all the same type of people, okay? There are teachers, government workers, the whole thing. It's, again, we're at war, folks. Understand that. It's us against them. It's shirts against skins. And the bottom line is this. They need us. We don't need them. I tell you, get out there. And by the way, for the media, Jeff, I'm the media. You're the media. Anybody that's listening to you is the media. Put the camera in their face and ask the question. And then see what happens. They all run. They're all hiding. There's no place to go. Steve Lynch yesterday voted for the second time against the SAVE Act, okay? The second time this traitor voted against the fact that all we want is American voters to vote. Imagine that. His ideology is not compatible with the United States of America. Steve Lynch, you're a disgrace. And
he's
quit.
A loser.
And I may see you again.
He's a loser. Steve Lynch is a loser, and you're right. He's a disgrace. Rob, as always, thank you very much for your call, and frankly for your principles, and your patriotism and your courage. Because you're a street fighter and a political warrior, and God bless you, my friend. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, this is from 781. I won't mention this person's name. I know the person's name, but I'm not going to mention it to protect anonymity. And just to give you an example, okay, this is how they treat hardworking, tax-paying, law-abiding American citizens. Jeff, I've been unemployed since February 2025. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, 781. I applied for unemployment February 16 and still have nothing. I called last week and no one has been assigned to my so-called case. God forbid you get a severance. Granted, I have that severance, but I paid into unemployment insurance. But that's ending soon. It's been 8 weeks. Funny, when we owe them, they're right on it. Brilliant. Brilliant. Oh, my God. I was short on my taxes. It wasn't much. I mean, I'll just cut them a check. Holy mackerel. Letter, just a couple of years ago, letter after letter after letter. I mean, you would think, I don't know what, I robbed a bank. Or to show you, this just happened this year. Okay, it's funny, I talked about this with Grace last night. So, the IRS contacted iHeart, this is regarding me, and told iHeart Payroll, listen to this, that I wasn't withholding enough money. I mean, I always paid them. I've never not paid my taxes. But they're saying he doesn't seem to be withholding enough. So we don't want him to withhold the level that he's withholding. We want the money now. We don't want him to write us a check at the end of the year. So take more out of his paycheck. And they didn't ask me if I agreed to it or not. So just to show you, when we owe them, holy mackerel. Oh, they're all over you. You can't breathe. But when they owe us, you'll get it when you get it. Unless you're an illegal, or unless you're a government hack, or a family member of a government hack. Then all of a sudden, you've been dead for 150 years, but you're still collecting a check. 617. Or better yet, this one I never, honestly, I got to tell my family members in Croatia about this. They're going to laugh their rear ends off. I go, hey, tell the corrupt former commies over there, we've actually beaten them now. The Dems have done them one up. They're sending money to people who aren't even born yet. That's going to get a rise. Trust me. Oh, my. Jeff, no. Jeff, even the communists don't do that. 617-266-6868 is the number. Agree, disagree. Aaron in the great state of Idaho. Thanks for holding, Aaron, and welcome.
Jeff, what have I been doing wrong? Working 50 hours a week. I owe the IRS a ton of money too. Why did my parents raise me to, obey the law? I'm serious. I'm wondering if I should scam. $41,000, that would be a life-changing amount of money for me. Before I get to my next point, I do want to make a compliment and a complaint about your show. You are such a good storyteller that it actually backfired. About a month ago, you talked about what the Israelis went through when they were being held hostage by Hamas. You were so descriptive that when I fell asleep and then I had nightmares, I was in Gaza. So it was so descriptive. I was there. Infidel.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, Aaron. Aaron, I've got to ask you this, my friend. Who's getting these checks? Number one. Number two, seriously, why is this not the biggest story in the country right now? And why are the Democrats and the media deliberately turning a blind eye? I mean, this is naked fraud, naked theft, naked corruption on a massive level. Again, this is not, one here, one there, where it almost makes the news and people laugh, a bureaucratic oversight or whatever. It happens. Things fall through the cracks. We're talking 28,000, 24,000, 9,700. And Elon and his people are saying, really, this is preliminary. They're saying the numbers are going to be much higher. This is we're just skimming. We literally are just skimming the surface. Aaron, who's getting this money?
There's people who know how to get the money, and I think I've met them. I want to say something to the Democrats who are yelling and screaming, who elected Elon Musk? Who elected Dr. Fauci? Fauci's one of the many reasons why I became homeless. Jeff, remember I told you in 2021 I was sleeping in my car. I went to the government for help. I begged them for help. They said, are you a crack addict? No. You a meth addict? No. Do you have a family? No. I didn't. You Cherokee? You this? You that? No. I just need help. They told me to go pound sand. I have liberal friends too. And one of my liberal friends, so you Republicans fault. Why we can't have everything nice? What do you mean nice? Well, we would all get free checks. We get money for nothing. See, this is what he said to me. How can you still believe in capitalism when you slept in your car for a year? I'll tell you why. Because when I went to the government for help, they told me to pound sand. And I still believe in capitalism because my parents worked their butts off, lived in a very small house when I was a kid. Then we went to a bigger house, and then we went to an even bigger house when I was a teenager. But when I was on my own, and I told my father, I've lost everything. My dad said, you got to tough it up, buttercup. You got to find a way out. And I did find my way out. But I am angry. This story hits me personally. I was suffering. I got no government assistance while sleeping in my car for a year. I had to take out loans. I am still paying these loans that I took out to get hotel rooms on certain nights where it was winter. And it disgusts me to hear these fraudsters, these people taking advantage of government assistance. It's not just illegal immigrants. Some of these people know what they're doing, and I'll tell you why. I remember reading an article. There was an article written by a leftist he called it fun employment. Again, lying about, I still have COVID, and they would not go back to work. And they just kept taking the free money, and they bragged about it on the internet. These people exist. I'm just too honest to lie about that sort of thing.
Well, you know what, Aaron, I think, and I want to commend you. You're a person of outstanding character. And I'm telling you, your reward is going to be in the next world. Really, and I live by that motto. I don't care. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to take someone else's money. That's stealing. That's theft. It's corruption. I can't look at myself in the mirror. And fine, yeah, they make money. They line their pockets. I don't. It doesn't matter. When I look at my children, when I look at my wife, when I talk to you on the radio, I can look at you with pride. And these people can't. And when I meet my maker, my conscience is clean. Theirs, that's up to them. So honestly, Aaron, you're doing the right thing. But I want to go back to something that you said. You're honest. And if you're honest, you're a third-class citizen in our country. That's what's fundamentally wrong. And look, you're right. It's not just illegals. I know some of them are. But the way these Democrats and these bureaucrats, okay, the way they've rigged the system, you got Elon Musk and his people saying, here, look, federal building after federal building after federal building. These are buildings that are costing us hundreds of millions of dollars. They're empty. 10 stories, 15 stories, 30 stories, 40 stories. Empty. No one's in. There's empty. And there's nobody there. They've been sitting at home doing nothing for the last 3, 4, 5 years, collecting check after check after check. And then when they sent an email out, Doge did, saying, okay, we want you all back in the office, most of them didn't even reply on their government emails. Why? Because they're not working. They don't even bother to check their emails. So we've got buildings sitting idle. We've got a rent space that's being completely unused. We've got employees that we're paying through the nose. And by the way, it's not just good salaries. They're getting gold-plated pension, health care, dental. I mean, the benefits. I'd kill to have benefits like that. And I don't know if they're doing, playing video games. I don't know if they're watching Jerry Springer or whatever it is now that people watch at noon. Apparently Jerry Springer's been off the air now for 10 years, but whatever. They're watching daytime soaps. I don't know what they're doing, getting stoned all day, or many of them are getting a second job. So they're collecting multiple checks. Now, I want you to know, look, if your father wants to give you his money, I'm just using a father as an example, that's his business, that's your business. But when you work as a government bureaucrat, whether it's federal, state, or local, we pay your salary. It's the taxpayers that are paying your salary. That's public money. That's theft, my friend. If you work, you do your job, great. But if you're not doing your job, and like they are, where you're at home or doing another job, but getting paid for this job, and the money, and by the way, it's not checks. Obviously, it's direct deposit. So every 2 weeks, clink, 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 the check is just going in your bank account. That's like stealing. Indulge me. It's $2,000 every 2 weeks that goes into the bank account. That's stealing $2,000 there's no difference between that and holding up a bank or literally robbing us at gunpoint because it's our money. Gun to the head, hand over your wallet. There's no difference. Now, I'm telling you, prior to about the last 10, 15 years, this would be a huge story. Government waste, government fraud, government corruption, doesn't matter, liberal media, no liberal media. Journalists still had the integrity to understand that this is the people's money, the people's business, taxpayer dollars. You waste it, you steal it, you abuse it, you're going to get nailed. Now, it's a different landscape. The media's job is to protect the Democrats at all costs. At all costs. Let me just end by saying this. Aaron, God bless you and have a good weekend. Here, Chuck Todd. Remember that loser? They kicked him off Meet the Press because his ratings were so low. And eventually just NBC and MSNBC said, get lost because this guy was just so horrible on the air. Well, anyway, Chuck Todd, listen to this. You can look it up. It's everywhere. In fact, we even have the cut if you want me to play it. Chuck Todd, in an interview on Piers Morgan, openly admitted. He said, oh, no. We knew Joe Biden was senile. We knew it. We saw it every day. All the time. Day after day after day after day. But we didn't tell the American people because we feared that if they knew the truth about Joe Biden, it would help Donald Trump. In other words, we lied. We don't want to tell the truth if the truth means it helps Donald Trump. Well, are you guys political whores? Are you guys political mercenaries? Are you political partisan activists? Or are you guys journalists? We know the answer to that question. Your calls next. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, many of you are making a really obvious point, which is a very good point, which is, well, Jeff, so many of these, checks are it's direct deposit. So just track down the direct deposits, the bank accounts, and who the bank accounts belong to who. We can start finding out who's cashing these checks and who's getting these checks. So that's why, look, the Democrats don't want this story to have legs. They don't want Elon to continue with his audit. They don't want to press on or push this investigation any further because the corruption has gotten to such a level that they realize the whole system may come crashing down if you really begin to expose the depth and the depravity and the extent of the corruption and the fraud and the abuse. So anyway, just for you now, all of you tuning in, many of you come in at 7:20. Elon Musk and Doge have now discovered even more waste, fraud, and abuse at a level that is almost unheard of. So, according now to Doge, they did just an initial survey. Again, not comprehensive, just an initial survey of unemployment insurance claims. And they said arbitrarily, let's start at 2020, basically when Biden came to power. And this is what they have revealed. Unbelievable. 28,000 people between the ages of 1 and 5 years old. That's right. Toddlers. Little kids have claimed $254 million in unemployment benefits. So basically, little kids are getting unemployment checks. 24,000, almost 25,000 people over 115 years old have claimed $59 million in unemployment benefits. Remember, the oldest person in America, and there's only one, is 114 years old. So it's a scam. I mean, these are fake people getting our checks because we pay for these checks. And the one that he said he just did not see coming, the one that blew his mind away, nearly 10,000 people, 9,700 so far, with birth dates over 15 years in the future. So they're born in 2040, 2050, 2060, one in 2154. So what is that, 130 years from now? And they've also received, unbelievable, $69 million in benefits. So people who aren't even born yet are collecting unemployment insurance. But no, there's no waste. There's no fraud. What are you talking about, Jeff? Jeff, come on now. Hey, this is the government. You got to trust the government. Just keep paying your taxes and shut up. They're wasting our money. They're stealing our money. They're squandering our money. And, Elon at the cabinet meeting, if you want, I can play the cut again, says, yeah, we found so far here. Let's play the cut. We found $150 billion so far. Do you know what $150 billion is? Do you know what you can do at 100? Hell, That's almost as much as we gave to Ukraine. Put another $50 billion, and that's what we've given to Ukraine. So, you know how much money that is? And, you know, cavalierly, he's saying, I'm telling you, we're going to hit $1 trillion easy. I look left, I look right, I look down, I look up. Everywhere we go, in every agency, every department, every program, all we're seeing is fraud and corruption. As he put it, it's a target-rich environment. In fact, as he said, his problem is there's so much of it, we don't have the time, we don't have the manpower, the personnel to do a complete, thorough, comprehensive audit. That's why Trump says, I think I'm going to keep Doge on personally. I mean, Elon may have to leave in a couple months to run his companies. But I think at this point, every department's going to have their own Doge. In other words, it's not temporary. We're going to keep it on permanent. Because they're finding so much corruption. So here's Elon. Now you tell me, if you're a journalist, how is this not the story of the year? $150 billion? 2-year-old kids collecting unemployment checks? 140-year-old people collecting unemployment checks? People who aren't going to be born for another 100 years collecting unemployment checks? Okay, here's Elon. Here, how much time left, Mike? Elon, roll cut 13. Mike.
Well, thanks to your fantastic leadership, this amazing cabinet, and the very talented Doge team, I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion. And I mean, and some of it is just absurd. Like people getting unemployment insurance who haven't been born yet. I mean, I think anyone can appreciate whether. I mean, come on, that's just crazy.
Look, we have listeners in Russia. We have listeners in Poland. We have listeners in Slovakia, Eastern Europe, okay? Let me ask, honestly, is it as bad there? I'm telling you it's not as bad there. Am I wrong? To those Eastern Europeans that are listening, am I wrong? It's not this bad. It's bad, but it's not this bad. Here, listen to this. Roll cut 14, Mike. No time for a 17-second cut? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, as promised, here's Elon Musk in yesterday's cabinet meeting saying, honestly, they're finding so much waste, fraud, and abuse at Doge. He goes, you can go in any direction. He goes, no matter where you go, there it is. And there's a ton of it. Roll cut 14, Mike.
Yeah, some of these things, if people ask me, like, well, how are you going to find waste and fraud in the government? I'm like, well, actually just go in any direction. That's how you find it. It's very common. it's, as the military would say, target-rich environment.
I mean, either you laugh or you cry. Really. Okay, two quick texts, and then I want to go right back to the phone lines. Lines are jammed. 70470 if you want to text the Kuhner Man. 70470. This is from 512. Jeff, those direct deposits are child's play to trace to who is ultimately getting all of this money. These people need rapid prosecution and incarceration now. Completely agree with you, 512. Completely. That's why Elon's got to call Pam Bondi and say, Pam, call Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, and let's start locking people up. All right, one more, and then 603 from New Hampshire, and then I'm going to go back to the phone lines. Jeff, all these checks, these unemployment checks, are ending up in the hands of someone and being cashed in. I think you would be amazed to find out just how many of these checks are actually being funneled right into the annual war chest of the Democrat Party, whether it be going to family members or to the party itself on the state and national level. Think about it. They have their people embedded in the system to quietly make all this possible behind the scenes. And you're right, 603, also they're hacks, they're activists, these NGOs. It's a network. It's an incestuous network. And whether they're ripping us off on Social Security benefits or unemployment benefits or putting people on Medicaid who don't deserve to be on Medicaid or putting people on food stamps or giving them EBT cards, welfare, it's obvious now. We're talking about one of the biggest Ponzi schemes and using the federal government as a massive slush fund for out-and-out corruption and bribery. And now you know why the Democrats want to shut Doge down, and many are openly calling for the assassination of Elon Musk. Because it's their corruption, their crimes that are being exposed. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. Maureen in Abington. Thanks for holding, Maureen, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you
Hi,
this
Maureen.
fine morning?
Good. How are you, Maureen?
I'm fabulous, but this has been something that's been eating away at me for quite some time. Our Social Security number links us to quite a bit, right? So when you're calling up to get unemployment and they put in your Social Security number to find out that you've been on welfare this whole time, you don't work one single day in your life, and you're getting welfare, you're getting the food stamps, you're getting unemployment when you never even worked, you received a retroactive check of well over $10,000, then you kept taking and taking and taking, never working a day. How do I get this person, and I can personally bring you to their house right now, to cough up the money that you stole from all of us being taxpayers?
Maureen, amen. I mean, really, you're completing my sentences. That, to me, that's why I saw this story, and to quote Elon, even Elon said, he goes, I saw it, they showed me the reports, and I had to look at it 2, 3, 4 times. He said it was so insane. He goes, I couldn't believe it. One person puts down, and they've gotten $41,000 so far. Okay, so far, $41,000. August 1st, birth date on his Social Security. His Social Security number, and then he has his birth date, his date of birth. August 1st, 2154. That's 50 years from now? Whatever, 130 years from now, whatever it is. 130 years from now. And obviously, the people who are processing the unemployment claims, they're not stupid. They're like, August 1st, 2154. That's 130 years from today. No, someone's scamming the system. They just let that check go right on through. Month after month. You know what $41,000 in unemployment is? Month after month after month after month. Because you see, Maureen, in the end, it's not their money. If it was their money from their bank account, they would flag that in a second. It's our money. So they don't care. And that's what, frankly, our founders warned us. Never give government that kind of power over you. Because they'll seize your money and you'll never see it. And they'll waste it. They'll steal it. They'll abuse it because they've been doing it throughout all of history because it's human nature. Too much temptation. And we allowed it to just, over the years, and government just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and now it's out of control. The corruption is literally, it's threatening to bankrupt us. And that's what Elon keeps saying over and over again. He goes, whether you like Doge or don't like Doge, we have to have Doge, or else we're going to go under. This corruption is going to bankrupt us. And look how many parasites, leeches, thieves, crooks. And notice, Is Maura Healey up in arms? Is Gavin Newsom up in arms? Is Kathy Hochul up in arms? Is Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries? Are they like, wow, well, this is outrageous? No, Elon, we may disagree with you on a lot of things, but on this, we're going to get to the bottom of it. They don't care. How could you not care? They don't care. Because in the end, Maureen, they think they're entitled. It's not our money. They think it's their money. That we work for them. Well, I got news for them. They work for us. Maureen, final word to you.
I find it utterly disgusting. Just go get back what we, the taxpayer, are due. And I will personally bring you to this door. There's one
Maureen,
for you.
Can I ask you a private question, a personal question? And if it's too personal, please tell me. When you pay your taxes, do you feel you get your money's worth? Honestly. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask you, Kuhner Country, the poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Are you getting your money's worth with your taxpayer dollars? Honestly, do you feel that you're getting your money's worth, bang for your dollar, for all the taxes that you pay? And I'm not just talking federal. I'm talking federal, state, local, the whole thing. The whole shebang, as they would say. Do you think you honestly get, I don't know, is your garbage pickup great? Are your roads good? Are you happy with the schools? Are you happy with all the social services? Are you happy with the way our government performs? Are you happy with how much you're paying in taxes and what you're getting in return? I'm telling you, to me, it's pretty obvious when you see all this waste, fraud, and abuse. Now you know why nothing works, because so much of it is being stolen. But that's me. I want to hear from you. A, yes, you are getting your money's worth. B, no. I'm a big no. I love my police, and they do a great job. And I got to say, Ava's school in particular, the teachers are amazing. So I'm not saying I get nothing for my money, because I do get something. But I think I'm maybe getting 15, 20 cents on the dollar in terms of value for my money. A lot of it, it's gone. It's gone. I'm telling you, it's being stolen or wasted or misused or misappropriated. So if I give $1 in taxes, I'm happy if 20 cents actually goes to really good quality social services. But that's me. I want to hear from you. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, Kuhn as in national ER. You can also vote via X. I'm always quite active on X. My handle there, at the Kuhner Report, all one word, at the Kuhner Report, Kuhner. Eddie in Maine. Thanks for holding, Eddie, and welcome.
Good morning, Kuhner man. Eddie, Sebago Lake, Maine. How are we doing today?
Hi, Eddie. I'm good. How are you, Eddie?
Very good, thank you very much. But, every day I get a little more disgusted because all I'm hearing is beans being stolen here, beans over here. But I don't see anybody being prosecuted for it. And our tax money still being shuffled out on the door. I wish the president would be like a little bit and give some of this tax money to us hard-working Americans that put it in, and giving back a little of our money back to us, the taxpayer, that are struggling. And how long is it going to take before, like, everybody, only thing punishment they're going to get is like Joe Biden, a great retirement plan, fade off into the sunset, and nothing happens to them? Come on, what's going on?
Well, you read my mind. That's exactly my reaction. I mean, really, Eddie, look, if you and I went and held up a bank, we'd go to jail. I'm telling you, we would. If you and I, just randomly, on one night said, you know what, we're going to hold up and steal, 100 people. We're just going to hold them up. Eddie, I hold them, you have the gun to their head, and I'm just saying, okay, give me your wallet, give me your jewelry, give me all your cash. And we end up $41,000 that we end up stealing in a haul in one night. You and I would go to jail. But you got these people scamming unemployment, just to use unemployment as an example. Never mind Social Security and everything else, welfare. And so that's our money. And you've got here one guy, just one guy alone, one person, claims he's going to be born in 2154. And they're giving him 41,000 and counting in unemployment benefits. Now that's thievery. That's robbery. That's stealing. Now, have they shut down the account? I don't know. Are they tracing the direct deposit account to the individual? I don't know. Are they going to actually put handcuffs on this person for stealing our money? I don't know. See, and that's why I keep going back to this over and over again. If we don't have arrests, it's not going to stop. Yes, Elon and Trump will cut off the money flow. And then what happens when the Democrats come back to power? They just let the flow come back on. They just turn the spigot back on. That's why it's going to happen again if we don't start seeing serious arrests. So, Eddie, I'm with you all the way. And it's amazing. Politicians can steal with impunity, and their clients, their voters, the illegals, government bureaucrats, their family members, their hacks, they can steal with impunity. That's fine. But if, God forbid, you and I, we just go 10 miles over the speed limit, and I've got police everywhere, at least in my area, with their speed guns. So, they hammer me. I haven't gotten a ticket. I'm just saying, if I go 10 miles over the speed limit, they're already hammering me with a $100 ticket. But you can steal 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 and no problem. As long as you're connected or an illegal. I mean, Eddie, ultimately, aren't we the middle working class, ultimately now second class citizens in our own country? Don't you feel like that? Because I certainly feel like that.
I feel like I'm the alien in my own country.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how most of us feel. So we want the government to start working for us. And, Eddie, look, I'm all for Social Security. I'm all for Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment, food stamps. That's there to help American citizens in a time of need or when they get older and they've been paying into the system their whole lives. It's their money. It's not there to be stolen. It's not there for illegals. It's not there for people who have no right to be in our country. It's not there to line the pockets of some cousin or some nephew or niece of some corrupt hack or, some lazy bureaucrat who wants to line his pockets by stealing from the public treasury. Like, that's what I find disgusting. And the worst of it is we're not going to have Social Security for people who deserve it or unemployment for people who deserve it or Medicaid or Medicare for people who deserve it because of all this fraud and stealing and waste. Because they're going to bankrupt the system. Eddie, thank you very much for that call. I really appreciate it. 617-266-6868 is the number. Now notice, okay, I led with this story. We're about 2 minutes away from 8 o'clock. We're going to do Kuhner's call log. Not one liberal, I'm telling you, has emailed me. My inbox is full. I don't mean full as in I can't take any more. What I mean is the emails are just pouring in. The text line is on fire. The lines are jammed. Not one text, not one email, not one call saying, oh no, this is outrageous. No, Jeff. No, look, hey, I'm a liberal, I'm a Democrat, whatever. But hey, come on, man, you don't steal unemployment. Hey, come on, 2-year-olds aren't supposed to be getting unemployment checks. People who are 140, 150 years old aren't supposed to be collecting $30, $40, $50,000 in checks. Hey, people who are not even going to be born for another 100 years aren't supposed to be getting $41,000 in government checks and unemployment checks. Kill Doge, kill Elon, stop the audit. Every dollar is sacrosanct. Don't ever weed out waste, fraud, and abuse. Never cut any wasteful spending. Notice, only spend more and more and more. Why? Because for them, government is a license to steal. That's what it is. And they know what we're saying is true. They know this is going into the pockets of illegals. They know it's going to their fellow Democrat hacks. So they're like, we don't care. We don't care. And here's the sad conclusion. And I know we're up against it, Mike, for the Kuhner's call log. Just one last thing. The government now, the Democrats, the way they run their blue states, is really very much like a mafia. It's a mafia state. And just like the mafia, they think they're entitled to your money. That your money is their money. And that you don't have a right to take a single dollar away from them. And God forbid if you threaten them, they'll destroy you or ruin you or threaten you or intimidate you. And their job is to steal from you. And don't you dare complain. Look, I know it seems a little harsh. You say, oh, come on, Jeff, the government's a mafia. How is it not, the way they're operating now, how is it any different from organized crime? 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. 8 o'clock. You know what that means. Kuhner's call log, caller of the week.
It's time for Kuhner's Call Log, where we showcase our favorite caller from the week.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Thanks for holding, Paul.
I have no fear in the economy right now, and I'll tell you why. Several reasons. One, we're a nation of hyper-consumers, so everyone wants our markets. I mean, I don't know about your house, but I get Amazon packages showing up on a daily basis.
Yes.
I think we have our own clipboard. And the second thing is, people are looking at this market drop all wrong. The sell-off is the hedge funds, because they need to make their quotas. So they're selling off. It's driving the market down, and they're going to buy back when it's low. I'm a blue-collar guy. I've been investing for 30 years. I've made a lot of money with a little. What's approaching is the buying opportunity of a lifetime, because these good blue chip stocks are going down low, and that's when you want to buy. The key is finding out the bottom. Where that is, I don't know. Like I said, I'm an average Joe, but I see it as an opportunity. Because people ask me, like, Paul, what would you buy for stocks? And I say, I don't know. Everything is so high. It's overinflated. I don't know where to buy. But now when people call me, I'm going to be like, get your cash together.
And next week, it could be you on Kuhner's Call Log.
Please, don't be a stranger. Call again. Great call. And by the way, everybody should have bought, because remember, Trump came out and told the world, buy now. The market's gone down. It's not going to go down forever. In fact, it's probably going to rebound very quick. Buy now. And he told the whole world. And had you listened to him, you would have made a ton of money. Like our caller, who was, I've been investing in the market for years, and it goes up, it goes down, you don't panic. And now the Democrats, they want to investigate Trump for insider trading because he told the whole world, buy now. You can't make this up. Okay. Best callers in the business. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay. This is from Mark on Messenger. And it's a really good point. Jeff, it's funny that you brought up the state of Massachusetts, that they won't open the books for the audit. Well, let me ask you a question, Jeff. If you were in charge of iHeartRadio's finances and you spent, say, $2 billion that you knew you weren't supposed to spend, would you still have a job? In other words, all these corrupt politicians, I'm just using Massachusetts as an example, spending all that money. We know it's going to illegals. We know it's going to fraudulent. These are fraudulent payments to fraudulent people. Billions and billions of our money. Would I have a job? Not only would I be out of a job, I'm telling you, take it to the bank. I would be indicted and prosecuted for engaging in white-collar crime. Misuse of money. Fraud. Embezzlement. So again, if you can't do it in the private sector, if I did, that's why it's a brilliant analogy, if I did what the politicians do, whether at the state or federal level, I'd be behind bars. You would be behind bars. So how come they're not behind bars? And again, I'm not justifying stealing. Please don't get me wrong. But if I'm stealing, say, or misusing iHeart funds, okay? Yes, I'm abusing, the shareholders and the employees of iHeart, no question. But I'm not abusing everybody. When you steal from the public trough, you're stealing from everybody. It's even worse. That's what I find incredible. 617. I mean, again, am I missing something here? 617-266-6868. CJ in Boston. Thanks for holding, CJ, and welcome. Hello, CJ? All right, let's see if we can reconnect with CJ. Paul in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Paul, and welcome.
Jeff, is Trump listening?
Paul, can you hold on? Just we're going to try to reconnect with you. You sound like like an android or a robot from one of these Star Wars movies. By the way, many of you are texting me. This has been many weeks now, saying that this keeps happening on this show. Jeff, it doesn't happen on any other show. Why is that? We're trying to investigate. It's not on our end. It's not Mike. It's not Sandy. It's not our equipment. It's not our board. So I don't know if we're being hacked into. I don't know if we're being harassed. I don't know what's going on, but something is wrong because this is not normal. That, every second day you hear callers and they sound like robots or someone's messing with our phones. So anyway, I think I know what's going on, but I don't want to make any allegations without 100% proof. All right, let's go back to Paul in New Hampshire. Paul, do we have you? Do we have a better connection with you? Are you there, Paul?
Yeah, can you hear me, Jeff?
Yes, you sound like a human being again. All right, go ahead, Paul.
Okay, you always say that Trump listens to the show. His people are listening. Are they listening?
They should be listening now, Paul.
Okay, me and my wife are getting very yippy. And you know who we're yippy with? Donald Trump, and I'll tell you why. They got to stop showing us all this stuff and not showing us arrests. If Joe Biden, his DOJ, was so efficient rounding up the January 6th, and they were damn efficient. They were going through cell phone records and videos, and they arrested people left and right. I don't want to hear another word from Doge unless there's an attached indictment. They need to have a press conference, or they need to have a meeting where they not only announce the fraud, but Pam Bondi says, and here are the 5 people we've indicted. They can do it. They're not doing it. And right now, my anger is well beyond the Democrats and the fraud. My anger is towards Trump not getting this done. Am I wrong?
Well, I wouldn't say Trump. I agree with you. Your point, I agree with you. But I wouldn't say Trump. And the only reason why is he's got so much on his plate. I mean, this poor guy, I don't think he ever sleeps. So I think the responsibility, look, he tasked Elon to go after the fraud. Elon and Doge have done their job. They don't have subpoena power. They don't have enforcement power. They're not law enforcement. They're basically accountants. Okay, they're just very, very smart accountants. An accountant can only go and find the fraud. The accountant can't do anything about the fraud. That's why I go back to Pam Bondi. That's why I go back to the Department of Justice. The DOJ is one of the biggest agencies in the entire federal government, one of the most powerful. It has an army of people that work there. Come on. Start doing your job. Start arresting people. But when I say that, the audience gets very mad at me. They say I'm picking on Pam Bondi. So, okay, I don't want to pick on Pam Bondi because there's nothing personal against Pam Bondi. But again, I'm with you. Look, here, I'll just give you an example, okay? That guy, Mr. Born in 2154, who's gotten $41,000 in unemployment checks, I want his ass behind bars. Now, am I asking for too much? So, get the FBI on it. You know, say we're holding an investigation. We're going to track this guy down. We're going to go look at the direct deposit. We're going to see the name on the account. We're going to find the social security number. We're going to move heaven and earth. We're going to find this person. And I'm going to tell you, we're not going to stop. We're going to find you. We're going to indict you. We're going to prosecute you. And we're going to jail you. Now, just doing that would send a chilling effect. People are going to be like, well, you know what? I don't think I'm going to scam the system anymore. Why? I don't want to go behind bars. Instead, nothing. Nothing. It's passive, inaction, passive. So after a while, but I'll tell you this, when it's time for a TV interview, there she is. Have you ever gotten, just, accidentally, an unemployment check, an unemployment benefit, a social security check? I mean, in other words, that you weren't supposed to. I don't know, a welfare check, whatever. How come it's only these Democrats? No, really. It's illegals and these Democrat hacks. Just the luck that these people have, huh? It's just, oops. Oh, jeez. They're 35 years old, but they're collecting Social Security. How did that happen? Oh, they're working, but they're collecting welfare? Really? Oh, hold on. They're working, but they're on unemployment insurance. How does this happen? How does this happen? So it's just, how come that's what I said last night at the dinner table. I go, we never get a check. Ever. Even a $200 check. Just a little something. Nope. 617-266-6868, 821 on the great WRKO. Okay, Elon now, a bombshell, absolute bombshell. 28,000 people they found so far. Again, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Over 115 years old, collecting hundreds of millions of dollars, 254 million in particular, in Social Security checks. Another 24,000, almost 25,000 unemployment checks going to people who are between the ages of 1 and 5. Children. Literally. 2, 3, 4-year-old kids getting unemployment checks. And then the one that he said just nobody could believe it. They had to redo it and recheck it and triple check it. 9,700, almost 10,000 people getting checks totaling almost $70 million who haven't been born yet. Many of them writing down as their birth dates, 15 years from now, 30 years from now, 100 years from now. One person born in or will be born in 2154. August 1st, 2154. $41,000 in unemployment and counting. So my question to you, the waste and the fraud and the abuse is now so obvious, so irrefutable, and as Elon said, it is so rampant, it's in the entire government from head to toe. Are you getting your money's worth? Is it time for a tax revolt? Because I'm starting to feel like maybe it is. Because I'm paying taxes, and this is what my tax money is going to. I don't pay taxes to have it stolen. And my biggest question to you, who do you think's getting this money? They're being direct deposited. The checks are being, someone's receiving these checks, and it's going into a lot of people's bank accounts. The question is, who? 617-266-6868. Eddie in Charlestown. Thanks for holding, Eddie, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Eddie.
We all know who's getting the checks. It's not takes a rocket scientist to figure this out here. It's the dirty politicians, Democrats, Republicans, whoever's on the take is getting it. Judges, the media, okay? And the reason why you're not going to see any arrests is because the president is being told we can't do that because it's a matter of national security. That's the bottom line that they always go to. It's a matter of national security. We can't do this. There'll be an uproar because just like Epstein's list, there's people on the names of Epstein's list. You're never going to find out who's on that list because the people will be in uproar. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you mentioned earlier mafia democracy. That was great because I read a book about a few weeks ago, ex-mafia captain from the Colombo crime family, Michael Franchese. And the book was titled Mafia Democracy. And it was an excellent book that he put out. And that's what it is. The government is playing that book play by play. And that's all I have to say. It's up to you, Jeff. But you won't see no arrests because it's national security. That's the bottom line they go to.
Well, Eddie, look, and this is my fear, that Elon's discovering all of this. And honestly, to be very fair to that man, he's really putting his life on the line. He's getting 17 to 18,000 death threats a day. A day. In fact, I don't know if you've heard about this, Eddie. Big story, big report came out. There is now something among Democrats, among liberals and Democrats. There is something now, their word, their phrase, not mine. It's called assassination culture. That's what it's called now, assassination culture. In which liberals and Democrats now so often call for the assassination of either Elon Musk or Donald Trump that it's become mainstream. It's almost par for the course at rallies, when they protest at Tesla dealerships. There is now a new poll that came out. 55% of Democrats, 55, that's a majority. Okay, lines are blazing. Derek in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Derek, and welcome.
Hi. Hello, Jeff.
Hi, Derek.
Hey, I'm calling from New Hampshire, and I'm just wanted to bring a couple things to light here. Office girls that work for this particular town, one of them made over $12,000 alone in raises. Another one made $8,400 in raises. Another one, $5,400 in raises. Jeff, these three women that work in the office, they made over $26,000 in raises. That's not talking the other benefits they have. This town particularly spent close to $750,000 on their health and dental insurance. It seems like it's never enough for these people.
Well, Derek, that's why we're going broke. I mean, really, these politicians are sucking us dry. And whether it's at the local, state, or federal level, it doesn't matter. You know, look, notice they always say this, I'm running for public service, right? They go, I've been involved in, they use the term public service all the time. I've been in public service for 50 years. When do they ever serve the public? No, really. I mean, take any politician you want. When do they serve the public? When you say, well, they're serving me. How are they serving you? They haven't served me. No politician. I'm not talking about Trump, who to me is not really a politician. He's an outsider. He's a businessman who, at the end of his life, basically almost as an act of patriotism and altruism, said, you know what, I'm going to go through misery and hell, but I got to fix this country. I'm not talking about people like that. I'm talking about what you're talking about. These are political careerists. These are hacks who've been in local government or state government or federal, members of Congress who've been there 20, 30, 40 years. Okay, they're hacks. What have they ever done for us? They're serving the public. No, they're serving themselves. Really, it's not public service, it's private service. And Derek, I swear to you, God is my witness. I'm not saying this for dramatic effect. When I was at the Washington Times, okay, this was under the Bush and the Obama years, and I was covering, or helping to cover their White House and congressional coverage as the assistant national editor. What I found amazing was how many politicians, and it didn't matter, Republican or Democrat, were in it for themselves. How corrupt they were. And the way you described it, how they were always self-dealing, always getting extra perks and privileges and more money and speaking fees, speaking engagements, crony book deals, gold-plated healthcare plans, ways to siphon money off for themselves or their spouses or their children or their family members. And I remember I'm just looking around and I'm like, they're like a bunch of parasites. And really, it just kind of dawned on me. I was maybe in like my 7th or 8th year there. And I said, they're like criminals, except they're smarter than criminals in this sense. They realize that if you in the private sector steal money, I don't care how you do it, but if you steal money, you're going to go to jail. Chances are you're probably going to go to jail. But being a politician, it's a license to steal. Unless you're really like Menendez, that guy from New Jersey. Unless you're, talking wads of cash and gold bars all over your house. And you're, seeing underage hookers, 16, 15-year-old girls as hookers. And you're flaunting it and taking pictures of it. And unless you're really brazen, like stupid about it, yes, one or two will go to jail. But for the most part, it's pure impunity. If someone said to me, no, really, Jeff, look, I'm a crook. I'm a kleptomaniac. I'm a crook. I just want to steal. I don't want to work too hard, but I don't want to go to jail. So how do I become a millionaire? And I mean, I got big appetites, Jeff. I don't want to just steal a little here and a little there. And I want millions and millions and millions. I want a mansion. I want, 5-star meals. I want to travel the world. I want to have a chauffeur driver. I mean, I want the good life. Okay. I want to live high on the hog. Become a politician. You have to have two skills. You have to be able to lie brazenly and not be ashamed of it. In other words, you have to go in front of a crowd and lie and know that you're lying and not feel any guilt or conscience, have no conscience about it whatsoever. Number one. And number two, you don't care how much you steal. So if you have no conscience and you're willing to lie to people's faces again and again and again and again, then you've got it made. And that's when you think about most of our leaders, Look, Obama is a liar. He's a con man. That's what he is. At best, he's a used car salesman. He's a con man. He's a crook. He's a liar. Hillary Clinton, liar. Well, what did Bill Clinton do his whole life? He just lied. But he could bite his lip and emote and act like he feels your pain as he's what? Now worth, what is it? North of $500 million? How much he and his wife have stolen? Now, I could go down politician by politician by politician. That's what politicians are. That's what I realized. I looked around and I said, they're the mob. But they're just a little smarter than the mob. Because the mob will engage in activities that could potentially put them in peril of going to jail. Drug trafficking, sex trafficking, extortion, murder, whatever, what the mob does. No, even if you want to murder people, you want to, listen, Obama, that sicko, just to give you an example, got up every day and had a deck of cards of who he wanted to kill. Overseas, whoever. Even if they were American citizens, kill them. Look at Joe Biden. How many people did he kill? He got 13 Marines killed. Nothing. He ordered a drone strike that wiped out an entire family in Afghanistan with children, innocent children. We're talking, this would put anybody else in jail multiple times for the rest of their lives. He wiped them out. No problem. Nothing happened to the guy. So even if you're a homicidal maniac and you love killing people, become a politician. You're Bill Clinton. You're a serial rapist. Rape and rape and rape. Nothing happens to you because you're a politician. You're a child molester. Joe Biden molested his daughter and many others. Nothing. You're a politician. So the political mind is a criminal mind. And many of them really belong in jail. They're sociopaths and psychopaths. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, speaking of corrupt politicians and how crooked and frankly thieving that they are. Here, listen to this. So this is a great text. You can text the Kuhner Man, 70470, 70470. This is from 617. Jeff, talk about feathering one's own nest. Look at AOC's taxpayer-funded expense account. She spends 10 grand a month of our taxpayer money on her congressional expense account for dance lessons, manicures, and 5-star lunches. That's what I mean. I'm done. That's what I kept witnessing in D.C. over and over and over and over again. I'm like, they would never. She's a barista. She would never have the lifestyle that she has now if she wasn't a crooked politician. Alexandria Fidel Castro Cortez. But, she's for the little person. She's for the little guy and the little gal. Right. And if you believe that, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn you may be interested in. This is from Eric on Messenger. And he says, in answer to the poll question, do you feel you get your money's worth when you pay taxes? With all that Doge is now discovering about the fraud, the waste, the abuse of our taxpayer money. Jeff, this is what Eric wrote on Messenger. Jeff, the answer to your question, I feel like I'm over tipping for very bad service with every government agency, leaving me broke until the next paycheck. That's how I feel. I think it's a really good analogy. Horrible service, and I'm just, the price is through the nose. I can't believe the price is on the menu. And then I'm way over tipping for horrible service on top of horrible food. Like that sums up my experience as a taxpayer. And then Eric adds this, Jeff, when was the last time you've ever seen a politician struggle financially? You know, that is an amazing point. Think of all the politicians you've ever met. Have you ever seen one, just one, say, boy, they're really living like me. They're living check to check. Boy, they're tightening their belt. They're having a hard time making ends meet. You know, boy, they're, you know. Now, on Beacon Hill, we're talking state legislators. Look how they live. Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston. Look at her salary. Look how she lives. I could go on. Look, you talk AOC, $175,000, whatever, $200,000 a year salary. I mean, manicures, pedicures, salons, 5-star lunches and dinners, trips all over the world. You name it. Look at the clothes that she wears. You think you can afford that on a $200,000 a year salary in New York? With all the taxes and the cost of living? No, I've never met a single politician who's gone hungry. But it's all quote unquote public service. They're all doing it for us. So to bring it full circle back to Doge, do I think a lot of these checks are going to illegals? Yes. But I think a lot of these checks are going to politicians or the family members of politicians or the friends of politicians because there's way too much money circulating around. And when you start talking about now unemployment, not even Social Security checks now we're talking unemployment benefits to people who are 120, 130, 140 years old, to 2, 3, 4-year-old kids getting, $2,000, $3,000 checks every month, supposedly on unemployment, or people who haven't been born yet or are going to be born in 100 years, and they're collecting these, $41,000 in unemployment benefits. Yeah, no, they're stealing. They're stealing, and they're stealing right underneath our nose. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. Let me ask all of you, throw this small log on the fire. Do you think we'll ever find out who's actually collecting these unemployment checks? That Elon, the bombshell revelation yesterday? The 28,000 who are over 115 years old. You think we'll find one? Track one down and find out really who that person is? And that person will be held accountable? Or the 24,000 so-called toddlers, the babies that are getting $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in unemployment checks. You think we'll track down one of them? Or the guy I really want is Mr. August 1st, born August 1st, 2154. Remember that movie 2000, A Space Odyssey? No. I want 2154, A Tax Odyssey. 2001, forgive me. 2001, A Space Odyssey? No, I want 2154. A Screw the Taxpayer Odyssey. That's the guy I want. You think we're going to find that person? And that person will, go to jail? Are you confident? Seriously, what say you? 617-266-6868. Call me skeptical. John in Malden. Thanks for holding, John, and welcome.
Morning, Jeff.
John,
Morning,
how
Jeff.
are you?
Good, not bad. And a little shout out for the Wolfman. Because full moon's coming right up. Hey, Jeff, the good audience, and Sandy and Mike. I'm glad you got good workers. Nothing. What about the banks? Every time when I used to collect unemployment in the past, fortunately of work or whatever, you'd have to deal with the bank. especially like Bank of America, when I used to get direct deposit. They got info. They got to take my name and everything else and make sure I'm legit. So I know they got info. But then again, what about the employees? I mean, the employers, should I say? No, the employers, or people who own the business, they have to dish out money, just for, get into the system of, if you go to employment, you're working for a company, you get to collect. They should have some type of info also. And another thing, too, is for investigation, it's going to take a good, solid politician to bring all this stuff up. That's the thing. And to find out someday, we might and we might not. If see what happens then. It's hard to say. You got the floor.
Well, John, look, just to piggyback off of what you're saying, to show you, to me, how rigged the system is. And again, it's always rigged against you, me, working upper middle class people who pay their taxes, obey the laws. We're honest. We're honest citizens. Okay. Here, as you know, my dad passed away in December. He left me, I'm with my sister as well. He left my sister and I a little bit of money. You have no idea. It's still, what are we now? April. Pretty soon we're going to be going into May. The banks won't let go of the money. The banks here, because the money's up in Canada, to transfer the money from a Canadian bank to an American bank. Holy mackerel. The papers, the forms, the loophole, the hoops that I got to jump through. The questions, the regulations, dot this I, cross this T. They've asked my birth date now 1 million times. My social security 1 million times. My address 1 million times. Like, I can't tell you, my bank accounts 1 million, like the ID number 1 million times, the account number 1 million times. And so I'm asking myself, now look, this is my father. He's got a will. It's been notarized. He made his express will known, his wishes known. It's not much. It's not a lot of money. It's a little bit of money, but he worked hard for it and he wanted to give it to me and my sister. And it's going to take a miracle to find. It's going to come eventually, but it takes forever. The red tape, the bureaucracy, the regulations, the questions. Now, I'm asking myself, how the hell does you got somebody who says literally their social security number and their date of birth. Okay, this is February 14, born February 14, 2023. You're like, well, that person's 2 years old. That's a baby. Well, they're getting $1,600 every 2 weeks Social Security. Every 2 weeks, $1,600 Social Security. Now, nobody says, whoa, how is a 2-year-old getting a $1,600 check? How is a 2-year-old eligible for unemployment insurance? How is a 2-year-old able to collect a claim? And then you go, okay, well, maybe there's a glitch. I don't know. Somebody put in 2023 and it's, 2003. Okay, I'm just going to. But then you go and you look again. And you're like, son of a gun. This one is March 18, 2024. The kid, it's a 1-year-old baby. And you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. That's what Elon and his team were saying. They said, and we just stopped at 2020. He goes, we just picked an arbitrary number. 5 years. Let's go back 5 years. And it's 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000 people that they're finding are doing this. And they go, look, we don't have the manpower. We can't track all this down. So Elon and his team are saying, no, look, you want to do a real, proper, comprehensive audit. We're going to find millions of people. Scammers, fraudsters. Now, you add that up. Check after check. What they found already. We're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. That's our money. Stolen. Out and out stolen. Now, this should be bloody hell. Congress should be on a rampage. The Justice Department should be going nuts. The media, this should be the lead of every story, every paper, every television station, every media outlet in the country. Instead, they don't even want to talk about Doge. It's Elon is rich. Elon's a billionaire. Elon's a fascist. Elon's a Nazi. Let's kill Elon. Elon, he's throwing people out of work. How dare he do this? He's cutting Social Security. He's cutting Medicare. By the way, the Democrats are already screaming, listen to this, that by going after this fraud and abuse, here it comes, they're slashing unemployment insurance. And Elon's like, what? We just found how much money is being stolen to people who clearly don't deserve it. These are fake people. And they're saying, it's cutting it's shredding our social safety net. They're cutting unemployment insurance. No, they're saving unemployment insurance, stupid, because they're not sending our money to people who don't deserve it because they're stealing it. Listen, I've never had to collect unemployment insurance. Honestly, by the grace of God, I've been at multiple companies here. The last one, Entercom, before we got bought out by iHeart. There was a bloodbath there. They were liquidating entire stations. I could have been out on the street. I would have had to need social unemployment insurance to get by, of course. So you work for it, you pay into it. God forbid you lose your job for whatever reason. You're entitled to it. It's your money. You paid for the damn thing. But it's not supposed to go to some 130-year-old grandma who we know is dead and has been dead for a long time because someone, either an illegal or some sick political hack, is stealing our money and lining their pockets. Now, that's not cutting into unemployment insurance. That's stopping wasteful fraud and abuse. That's what that is. People are getting checks. They don't deserve to get these checks. It's a fraud for them to get these checks. They're stealing these checks. And now you know why they have to turn Elon Musk into Hitler 2.0. Literally, to the point. And I want to emphasize this, okay? You have a brand new, massive new poll. 55% of Democrats, 55, a majority now say it's justified to murder Donald Trump. It's justified to murder Elon Musk. It's justified. Go ahead, kill him. Because they're that kind of a threat to our democracy. They're that evil. You go to any rally now, any rally, they openly call for the assassination of Elon Musk. And firebomb Tesla cars, firebomb Tesla dealerships, shoot up Tesla dealerships. My God, you had a poor woman who was driving a Tesla. She was pregnant, driving the car. And some whack job took a massive rock and threw it through the windshield. And he almost killed the woman. She had to be rushed to the hospital with a pregnant baby. Chuck Schumer was asked to denounce it. He won't denounce it. Schumer will not denounce calls to assassinate, murder Elon, to destroy Tesla vehicles, to shoot up Tesla dealerships, to the vandalism, the assault, the fire bombings. No. You know what he says? Doge has to go. Elon has to go. Now, I'm not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. I can connect the dots. He's collecting checks. His family's collecting checks. In fact, Elon publicly called him out, good for him, to Schumer, saying, I'm starting to get the suspicion now. You want this massive corruption to continue. because you're taking part in this quote-unquote game. That's how Elon called it, a game. You're taking part in this corrupt game. You're benefiting from this game. Otherwise, it makes no sense. So, no, John, there's no question about it. You file for unemployment, and you got to go right through that whole rigmarole. You got to wait 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. They ask you the same questions over and over again. But if you're an illegal, no problem. If you're a Democrat hack, no problem. If you're some lazy, good-for-nothing federal bureaucrat, no problem. If you're connected to a Democrat politician, no problem. What do you want? Social Security? You got it. Welfare? You got it. Unemployment? You got it. That's why now they want to crucify Elon Musk. Because he's exposed the massive rot and corruption at the heart of the entire system. Now, I'm telling you, from now on, this is my position. No new taxes. Don't you dare, to any politician out there, tell me that I got to pay more in taxes. You're raping me, man. And they're raping you. They're stealing from us. Blind. They're robbing us blind. No. If you got enough to steal like this, you got enough money. So steal less and spend more on roads or schools or hospitals or police or whatever you need. Steal less, take, as they say in Eastern Europe, take, but not so much. In other words, leave something, for God's sakes, for the peasants and for, the roads and the schools and the hospitals and the healthcare system and, basic infrastructure. So no more tax increases. Cut. Cut spending, cut programs, cut the bureaucracy. Don't stop cutting. John, thank you very much for that call. I mean, and by the way, Elon is now saying, I guarantee you $1 trillion. He said, honestly, we can get you $2 trillion. But we're at 150 billion and we just started. We're just, as they say, wetting our beak. So, no, we can balance this budget and we can get our fiscal house in order. But you got to have a media that's going to stop lying and stop covering up. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. I got to tell you, it's almost getting to the point, outside of it being a crime, which I don't, I never recommend somebody to commit a crime, obviously. So I know if I don't pay my taxes, I'm going to go to jail. So of course I'm going to pay my taxes. But outside of the fact that I say, you're going to go to jail. It's a crime. You're going to go you're going to go behind bars. I really can't give you a reason why you should be paying taxes. I mean, we need taxes for basic things, but they're stealing so much. They're taking so much. They're wasting so much. In good conscience, outside of, going to jail, why are you paying taxes? I can't give you an honest answer. I can't say to you honestly and say, oh, you're getting, hey, pay taxes. Listen, it's good for you and your family. You're getting a lot in return. I can't tell you that. Andy in Halifax. Thanks for holding, Andy, and welcome.
Thanks for taking my call. I'll tell you this, the wait on the phone line is like a cool down period because you had...
Andy, you're breaking up. We're going to reconnect with you, Andy. Hang on. Okay, we're going to go to Andy in Halifax. But before I do, here it is. Okay. Again, where is the media? Where are the Republicans? Here it is. Straight from Doge, from the proverbial horse's mouth. So, they release now a follow-up. So, yes, they've tracked down all of these fraudulent unemployment claims. that are going to tens and tens and tens of thousands of people, fake people, babies 1 to 5 years old, collecting unemployment benefits, checks, 28,000 over 115 years old, collecting checks, people who haven't been born yet, collecting checks, people who are going to be born in 100 to 150 years, collecting checks. So, this is now... What do you think are the 3 biggest offenders? Here it is. Listen now to this is straight from Doge. California, New York, and Massachusetts. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. California, New York, and Massachusetts accounted for most of these improper unemployment claims, totaling $305 million, holy shamoly, in unemployment benefits. Additionally, California accounted for 68% of the unemployment benefits, here it comes, paid to parolees identified by Customs and Border Protection on the terrorist watch list or with criminal records. I'm sorry, either you laugh or you cry. So let me repeat that last part again. And again, I want to stress this. They're just scratching the surface. They go, no, this is a preliminary, we just got a couple of people who are looking into this. This is far from systematic, thorough, comprehensive. I'm just like, it's like opening the books and we've just gone through a few pages. So they've 3 states, California, New York, Massachusetts, the People's Republic of Massachusetts, they're leading the way with these fraudulent unemployment claims. So far, $305 million. But California, additionally, California accounted for 68% of the unemployment benefits. These are checks paid to parolees identified by Customs and Border Protection on the terrorist watch list or with criminal records. Okay? In other words, criminal illegal aliens, not just illegals, criminal illegal aliens with criminal records. And terrorists. They're handing out unemployment checks to freaking terrorists, murderers, rapists, and gangbangers. You can't make this up. 6-1, and Elon's the bad guy. He's the bad guy. You see, the bad guy is not, the bad people are not the ones who are committing this fraud. No. This is liberal logic for you. The bad guy is the one who's telling you that they're committing all of this fraud. He's the bad guy. 617-266-6868. Again, I've got to ask. Like what? Do I got to start blowing up buildings to start getting government checks? Like, what, do I got to be part of MS-13 or Tren de Aragua? Like, Mike, really, do we have to start becoming fentanyl dealers before we start getting some of these checks, these fraudulent checks? I don't get these checks. Do you get these checks? Alex, sorry, my bad. Andy in Halifax. Thanks for holding, Andy, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. How do I sound?
You sound loud and clear. Go ahead, Andy.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for taking my call. I was saying this wait on the phone is like a cool-down period. You had my heart rate going. I'm telling you, this stuff that Doge is uncovering is just mind-boggling, and it's just more and more. Every day we are getting deluged with the stuff that Elon Musk and his team are uncovering, and kudos to them. But, much like a football game, they just hand the ball off, and somebody's dropping the ball because nobody's being arrested. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, I'm not going to say the president, but they're sitting on their hands. No one has been arrested. And I'm losing faith. I'm starting to think like I'm being gaslit by my government because no one is being arrested. Yet they know where these checks are going. Why is no one being arrested? And we need to go no further than a couple dozen miles from you or me to our own capital, our own state house, Beacon Hill. And, the people vote for an audit. That's how this is being found out by Doge, an audit. The people vote for an audit, and our own legislature, they're telling us we can't look at our own books. And we know for a fact that the money's disappearing. We know it. Yet we sit back and, thank you, sir, can I have another? Oh, Maura Healey says, we're going to raise taxes on sweets. Oh, thank you, sir, can I have another? We're going to raise the excise tax. Thank you, sir, can I have another? Now she's talking about, I don't even know what else, about raising our taxes. And it's just, we sit back and we take it. How much are we going to take before some...
Andy, that's the question. How much more are we going to take? All right, lines are jammed, but before we go to the phone lines, joining us now, as she always does at this time, she's the CEO, co-founder, president of Kelly Financial Services. And yes, that is her wonderful name, Kelly. Kelly, how are you?
Good morning, Jeff. I am good. Are you retired or nearing retirement and wondering if annuities are right for you? Don't miss our upcoming master's class, Annuities, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, on April 22nd and April 24th. Join us for an eye-opening educational session where we will cover how annuities work, the pros and cons, and the red flags to watch out for. We'll break down the different types of annuities, fees, surrender periods, and how they can support a protected retirement income plan. And do bring your questions. We'll have a dedicated Q&A so you leave informed and confident. Space is limited. Reserve your spot today. Give us a call or email Kelly at kellyfinancial.org. Jeff, I will continue this conversation with our Kelly advisors tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Safe Money Strategies Radio. Do tune in or go to our website for our radio rewind. Jeff, have a wonderful weekend. My best to Grace and the kiddos.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Have a wonderful weekend. My best to everyone at Kelly Financial. I urge all of you, take advantage of these master classes, incredibly informative. And as you just heard from Kelly, they are still signing people up. So call now, 888-800-1881, 888-800-1881, or email Kelly herself, Kelly at kellyfinancial.org, Kelly at kellyfinancial.org. Kathy in Tingsboro. Thanks for holding, Kathy, and welcome.
Yes. Hi, Jeff. Nice speaking with you.
Hi, Kathy. Nice to hear from you. Go ahead.
Hi. I agree with your last caller as far as nothing's being done with a lot of things. I mean, they're talking about it, and then you wait to hear the finality of it, or at least some type of closure, or they're doing something, such as Pam Bondi the other day. We got the people scratching the Teslas and all that. I mean, she listed maybe like probably 7 or whatever. And, I mean, just on the internet, we've seen several photos and pictures of someone walking by and scratching. But I don't know how long it takes. But that is, and it's disheartening because, all of these people are paying and making, payments on these cars and their dream cars and all. So I wish they'd act more than they talk and grandstand, and I see that. But what I was really calling for, too, is where's the money
Kathy,
going?
I promise I'll let you finish your point. I promise. If you don't mind, because you're saying something that really is speaking for many in the audience. And I want to read this to you. It's a text message on my personal phone, not on the text line, from a dear friend, a big fan of this show. We go back many, many years, and I really respect him. He's a big Trump supporter. And by the way, knows talk radio like almost nobody else. And this is what he texted me just a couple of minutes ago. It was the caller before you. It was Andy in Halifax. Jeff, You just had a caller that echoed my sentiments. I'm losing faith. I think maybe the gaslight has been turned on. Nobody's being arrested. No one is being held accountable. Lots of big talk, lots of bluster, no action. Kathy, if I'm getting too personal, please tell me. I promise I won't be offended. Do you share what that person just wrote to me? Are you losing faith? Are you starting to think we're all being kind of gaslit? We're being manipulated? They talk a big game. It's a lot of bluster, a lot of talk, but in the end, very little or no action whatsoever. Are you starting to get discouraged? Are you starting to lose faith?
Yes, I am. And they tend to be patting each other in the room on the back. But we want them to come with, I've arrested, not, oh, we're working on it. And I have 7 people that scratched the cars, yet we've seen 2,500 on the internet scratching cars. I mean, it doesn't take that much with the backup and the monies that they have to work with. But what I was calling about was, where is the money going? I will be 78 next week. I will be renewing my license with the new license that they're requesting that we get, that we can travel with. And they request me, 78, going to be 78, that I have to have, if I have a valid passport, Social Security card not laminated, credit card statement, and a 1099 statement. So they'll have all my information. So when I pass on,
so hold on. So Kathy, just to renew your license, correct? A real ID. Okay, yeah, to get real ID. A real ID. Passport, Social Security, not laminated. Your 1099 form, and a credit card statement. Am I correct, Kathy? Oh, Kathy, is it and or is it or?
They're all and, but there is one that I didn't mark. It says and or, and I think it was the possibly the credit card statement.
Okay. Well, Kathy, look, my advice to you is walk in and tell them you're an illegal. You don't have to bring anything.
Exactly. Well, I do have a name, a last name, before I was married that could pass as one. I just wish I do have a birth certificate. I can with that on it, and even my footprints.
And what now would I, apply for unemployment, Kathy? When you come and you tell them you're an illegal, they'll give you your real ID, and they say, hey, you know what? I wouldn't mind getting a little bit of an unemployment check. Sure, Kathy. Put your name down. Go ahead. Kathy, it's incredible. It really is. You're right. The fraud is everywhere. They're not finding it because they don't want to find it. It's easy to catch if you want to catch them. Kathy, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Again, I don't want to repeat what I said earlier, but I'm just trying to get, my late dad's money that he left. And my sister is in the same boat. She's in Arizona. And she says, Jeff, how long is this going to take? And you go to the bank and they want this form and that form and sign this and sign that. And, I don't know how many times I've given them my Social Security number. Really? I mean, my date of birth, how many times do I have to keep saying it to you? So, but, we're not illegals. You see, that's our problem. Or we're not connected to a Democrat politician. If we were, my dad died on the 27th, we'd have the check by the 28th. Jeff in Chelsea. Thanks for holding, Jeff, and welcome.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. As far as the Democrat communist politicians are concerned, here is what I see coming. They're like a cornered animal. And when you have...
Jeff, Maestro Mike is power tripping again. Okay, we're going to go right back to Jeff in Chelsea, but just quickly before I do, I just got a text again. This was on my personal phone from my sister, Jennifer, who lives out in Tucson, Arizona, with my brother-in-law, and my wonderful, my two nephews, her wonderful two sons. And she's obviously joking. She's got a smiley emoji, a laughing emoji. But this is what she wrote me. Jeff, maybe we should apply for unemployment for Dad and collect the check. I'm telling you, yeah. I mean, so what if he's dead? I don't care. Honestly, we'll get the money somehow, Jen. All right, just very quick. This is a really, really good text. One last text, and then I want to go back to Jeff. But I think expresses what so many of you are emailing me, messaging me, texting me. And it's from 617. Jeff, they made a big deal yesterday out of Pam Bondi making another Tesla firebomb arrest. No offense to Tesla or to Elon, but that's a matter for the cops to take care of. I want Pam Bondi to go after all the politicians who've been robbing us blind. I want Kash Patel to go after the people who committed treason. Something is not adding up. It seems the only one doing any heavy lifting is Donald Trump. Where is Congress? Where are the Republicans? Bingo. And this needs to be said. You know, I get it. Pam Bondi, look, she's Attorney General. And she's got stuff coming at her from every direction. Her plate is more than full. But she's got deputies. She's got assists. I don't just mean she's got an army of prosecutors and investigators, but she's got deputies, assistants, people around her who, her number 2, her number 3, people, you can delegate. I mean, I don't understand. Just delegate and say, no, we're going to, listen, you're going to head up this task force. We're going after these people who've been stealing money from us using unemployment checks. Or you're going to start investing these. Adam Schiff is holding illegal hearings, shadow government hearings in the Senate. We're going to go after them. Investigate. It's a crime. Letitia James, tax fraud, mortgage fraud. You're going to investigate. Let's go. Instead, I agree. It's low-hanging fruit. The police should be handling stuff like this. And it's certainly not worth a big press conference. And then again, a round of media interviews. Because what? You've arrested 5-7 people who keyed Tesla cars? I mean, I want them arrested. Don't get me wrong. But that's not for the Attorney General. That's not for the AG. That's for the local police or the local sheriff to take care of. Jeff in Chelsea. Sorry, Jeff, we got cut off. It's the floor is yours. Go, my friend.
Thank you. Now, as far as the Democrat communists are concerned, they are like a cornered animal. And when you're a cornered animal, you react violently. And the thing is, the Democrat communists only have one card left: violence, attacks, and terrorism. The trigger, I believe, is going to be the illegal alien gotaways, Antifa, BLM, and whatever George Soros has to throw at us. And what will this look like? A Tet offensive on American soil. I mean, what that would look like in Boston? Let's say Faneuil Hall, the financial districts, cut off these Democrat areas, scare the bejeebus out of the people, and then conservative right-wing media like yourself, people like me who are callers, will be shut up. We will be cut off. They'll say all right-wing radio is out. It's only going to be official propaganda, and then they can fill in the blanks on who the terrorists are. They could say right-wing extremists, the Iranians, whatever they want. They will have a blank check to shut everything down, and the normies will swallow the propaganda. I hate to say it, Jeff, and I'm included among that number. Your audience consists of maybe 30% at best on a local level and a national level. The normies make up 70%. That's the sheep. That's the swath of the great unwashed. And the communists maybe 20 to 30%. In other words, we will permanently be screwed. And if this happens in the Trump administration, Trump will be stymied for the rest of his 4 terms, for 4 years. And then the communists take over, and they ratchet the screws on us, and we slowly get cut off from society to where people like us wind up in the ghettos, if you know what I mean. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, look, Jeff, we know what the communists want. They tipped their hand. They showed us what they were about under Biden, under Kamala, what their plans were had they won in November. We don't want them to ever come back to power again, nationally, because we know what they want to do to you, to me, to this audience, frankly, to Trump voters, to MAGA. So that's why, while we have the Justice Department, while we have the FBI, while we've got both chambers of Congress, while we've got, at least in theory, the Supreme Court, now is the time to move. And I understand, Rome wasn't built in a day. I get it. But you see, what bothers me, Jeff, this is my concern, is I'm not asking for indictments right away. I understand you got to dot your I's and cross your T's. But so far, from everything I've been hearing, there aren't even any investigations. That's what's concerning to me. And I mean, the corruption now is so blatant and obvious. I mean, today's show proves it. We're talking about corruption on a massive scale. Follow the money. And I think it leads straight to the Democratic Party. And that's what I mean. We can put the Democrats away once and for all. What is Pam Bondi? What is Kash Patel? What is the Department of Justice? What are they afraid of? I'm not afraid. Are you? Bye-bye.